Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier of Thinking Stamping and I'm an Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from New Zealand. And today I thought I'd share with you my first play around with this lovely little bundle, the Simply Zinnia bundle. Now this bundle is one of the new online exclusives which is going to be released in March, so it's currently on Demonstrator pre-order, and so it arrived here on Monday, and today's Wednesday, so it's my first play around with it, and I thought I'd share it with you because it's such a bright, happy, cheerful, it's just a lovely little bundle, and it's part of a suite with some paper that we're going to have a look at as well. And if you watched my Jan Clothier Independent Stamping Up demonstrator Facebook page a couple of days ago, you'll have seen my unboxing of everything that I got from the pre-order of the online exclusives. Anyway, today it's Simply Zinnia. And we're going to make this little card which plays around with pretty much all of the elements of the suite. So I'm going to start off with what you need, and obviously you need the Simply Zinnia bundle, although for this particular card you could get away without the dies. The dies do add a whole extra dimension, and I'll tell you about those and perhaps on another card. Anyway, so the Simply Zinnia bundle, in terms of card, what I've used is, I've got a Berry Burst base, and it is my standard card size base, so it's 21 centimetres, scored at 10.5, and I've cut it at 14.8. Now, if you're not a metrics person, this is just my standard card size base, so just use your standard card size base. There are no particularly tricky pieces in this card, so just the standard base. And then I've got a piece of basic white which is 0.5 centimetre or 1/4 inch if you're an imperial person, smaller, so it's 10 by 14.3. and you can see that what I've done with it is I've used the folder, the embossing folder that's part of the suite, the Zinnia 3D. And what I quite like about this is, I hope you can see this on the video, that is the embossed side, which is beautiful, and that is the debossed side, which is also beautiful. So one of your first choices when we put this card together is which side's going to go up and which side's going to go down. So that's 10 by 14.3. Cut in white. Now you need a piece for stamping on. So I have just used Tuxedo Black, and I've just stamped that beautiful, beautiful little bunch of zinnias. Now, you can use just whatever piece fits, but I think that piece is 9.5 by about 13 centimetres, but whatever's big enough for that. And we're going to colour that shortly. I've used stamping blends, but you can use whatever you like, whatever you prefer. Now, you need a little piece of white for the sentiment. Now, I've used that, Thank You So Much, and I've cut it with from Everyday Details, which is just a gorgeous little bundle. Oh, it's a beautiful bundle, but the dies do stand alone because they're just outlines, and that lovely little dinky one there gives you that beautiful little stitched outline. So you need that for the sentiment, and you need a couple of pieces of DSP. Now, whoops, I'll just show you a very quick look at what the DSP is. This DSP is called Flowering Zinnias, and it's part of the Zinnia suite. So I'll just quickly flick through so you can get an idea for what it looks like. That's one of those beautiful sheets that you can just cut into panels. Whoops. And on the back of it's that one, the Highland Heather and the leaf. Okay, so those are the designs that we had to work with. And so I've just picked these two pieces. Now they are cut 2 centimetres wide, so that's about 3/4 inch, and I've cut them just about 1 centimetre or 1/2 inch narrower than the 10 centimetres there. So they're 9.5 by 2 centimetres. And you just need a couple of those. Now, normally at this point I say if you see anything that I'm using today and you'd like to add it to your craft collection, then you're welcome to shop with me. And there's a link to my online store in the video description below. And clearly I have just said that, but all of the things that I'm using today, apart from like the cardstock and the blends and the inks, are in fact not available for purchase until March. So this is like the sneak peek part. Now, for the in addition to the stuff I've showed you, which is what you need for the outside of the card, what I've chosen to use on the inside of the card is a mat of Lemon Lime Twist, which is 10 by 14.3, and then I've got a 0.5 centimetre smaller 9.5 by 13.8 that I'm going to put on the inside, and I'm just going to stamp it simply like that. But that's what those two pieces are for. And I'm just going to pop those aside because we won't need them just at the moment. Okay, so let us get cracking. The very first thing that we need to do after we've done the embossing is we need to colour the image. Now I'm going to use Stampin' Blends because that's my favourite kind of stamp colouring at the moment. But if you wanted to watercolour it, you could do, and all you'd need to do would be to do the stamping in Stays-On ink instead of Tuxedo Black. If you've got coloured pencils, you can do that. But as I say, I'm using blends, and I'm using a mixture of lemon lime twist with some touches of old olive. I'm using some melon mambo with some touches of, whoops, got that the wrong way around. Some melon mambo with some touches of berry burst, and I'm using a little bit of lemon lolly just for the flower centres. Now, I don't know how you go about colouring, but for me, I always start by doing an overall of the light. So I'm going to do lemon lime twist up the stem. You should start by that. Just an overall colouring, just to get the ink on the paper and sort of lay down a base. And then once I've done that, I will go in with some touches of dark lemon lime twist, just to highlight, low light, I suppose, certain areas, and bring out some textural design, or some textural elements of it, make it a bit 3D. And then, if necessary, see, I've just done that once all over, then I'd come in with the dark lemon lime twist, and the stamp lines kind of give you the clue where to put stuff, where to put in some darker pieces. And then some leaves, I'm going to make them darker so they stand out from their friends. And I would also add in a few touches of even a darker colour, like a little bit of old olive, just to make some elements some parts even darker. And then just to even things out, I would go back over with the light, just to kind of smooth out the transitions and just to add in a little bit further colour. So I'm going to do my stems in a mixture, mostly in lemon lime twist with some highlights of old olive. The other place where I'm going to use lemon lime twist is I'm going to use the light for that. Going to put some lemon lime twist here in these little star seedlings. And I'm going to colour the flower centres with lemon lolly. And then the flower petals, I'm going to do a mixture of melon mambo and berry burst. And you can see on this card, these two are predominantly berry burst, and that one is predominantly melon mambo with some touches of berry burst, just to sort of blend them together. But you can do them in however whatever kind of colours you want to use. And you could do 2 melon mambo, 1 berry burst, you could do 3 all the same. You colour them however you like. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, when you're happy with the colouring and you think you're finished, the next thing you can do is pop out of here, your die. Now this does cut out beautifully. And what I did before, what I'm going to do is, you see, I just took the die and I cut that out of a piece of card the only special thing about it is that it's not white, because I want to be able to see clearly the white background. So you can see I've just cut that out. When I go over to my die cutting machine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up exactly where I would like the die to cut. Then I'm going to drop the die in and you'll feel it when you've got it on your die cutting plate. You'll feel it lock in, and that's one way of making sure you get the die to cut exactly where you'd like it to be. So I'm just going to go and do that, and then I'll be back in a sec. Right, so there is our nicely die cut set of zinnias, and so it's pretty much a matter of just straight up assembly. So I've got my Berry Burst card base, I've got my zinnia embossed panel, and my only choice is whether I'm going to have it that way up or that way up. You can see on my sample card I've done it up that way. So just to switch it up, I think I'll do it a different way just so we can see how it looks. So just a bit of glue. Now this is quite a heavily textured piece of card. Now it's been embossed. So I'm going to put perhaps slightly more glue than I normally would. And I'm definitely going to put more in the middle than I normally do. And now we're going to attach to our base. We're going to use any wiggle room to make sure that we're straight. Okay, so that's nice and easy, step one. Now, step two is another choice issue, because always the DSP is double-sided. So you've got several combinations of how you're going to do it. That way, which is how I have done it. Excuse me. You could do it both over the other way. You know, you play around, do it however you would like to do it. I think I am going to perhaps do it that way, just because I want to do it a little bit differently. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where I would like my zinnias to be, how high up. So I'm going to do what I always say to my class people to do: have a practice, have a layout, see what you like, because nothing is irretrievable until you start gluing. Now, in order that I don't lose my place for where I'm going to put everything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully lift that off, and I'm just going to put a little pencil mark there where it's going to be hidden away and no one will ever see it, just to remind me that that is where I would like my my first piece of DSP to stop. So we'll just pop that on. Going to line that up on my grid paper and have a look at that. Does it look straight? Yep. And then I'm going to come in with my second piece. And then I'm going to do it that way, lining it up with my grid paper the other way. And I'm just going to overlap them slightly. See if they're straight. Are you straight? Yes, you look straight. Then I'm just going to run over with the bone folder just to help them to glue down and just to run over any rough edges. Right, next thing is one of my favourite things, which is dimensionals. So I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, and you know me, you know that I am always going to err on the side of plenty. Right, whipping off the backs. There's something very satisfying about a little raised up panel. Amazing the difference it makes popping something up on dimensionals. I know from talking to some of my Canadian demonstrator friends, you have to be a bit careful with how thick your finished card is if you're going to post it. But, oops, where's my tweezers gone? Okay. Now lining it up, popping it on. Yes, and what I'm going to do with my sentiment is that bit, that top corner, is going onto there, which is already raised up. So I only need dimensionals at that end. And where did my minis go? And perhaps just a little mini just down there. So I'm going to whip them off, just pop a little twinkle of glue there. again, lining up with the grid. And are we straight? Yep, if they're straight, then you can pat it down. Now, our almost final thing is the embellishments. Now, the final part of the suite are these beautiful adhesive, they're just called adhesive backed shiny sequins, and they are in all, they tone in with all the colours of the paper. So, I'm just going to get my Take Your Pick tool, and we're going to just add some sequins to just finish it off, and I think we'll put one there. And perhaps we'll have a green one. No, perhaps we'll just go for a smaller sized pinky. And perhaps we'll just pop a green one up there. Aren't they gorgeous? And I love the fact you just pop them on and you don't have to fiff and faff with anything else. Right, so that is my sneak. And as I said, the inside, the only other thing is the inside, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my lemon lime twist and my white, my black stamp, and just pop that in. So there you go. There's my introductory sneak peek to the Simply Zinnia suite, which is going to be available for purchase in March. And if you live in New Zealand and you'd like to purchase this from me, please get in contact. My contact details are below, and there's also a link to my online store, although it's a little bit early to get onto the online store for these particular things just yet. Now, the other thing that I've got that I've made so far with it is a very similar card, but just using the same things but in a slightly different way. So all I've done for this one, which is different, you can see I've done exactly the same with the sentiment using the Everyday Details dies. I've used the Zinnia 3D embossing folder. I've used a strip of the same paper. The only thing I've really done that's different is I've used a different coloured base. I've used Old Olive, and I used some of the, I think they're called, anyway, the contours dies, which have scalloped contours, I think they're called, and I've just stamped onto it and coloured it instead, and I haven't die cut it out. I've just attached that panel onto it instead. So that's a very simple variation of, you know, exactly the same equipment. If you have a favourite, let me know. So it'd be handy to know what people like the best. I like them both. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed making that card. If you have any questions, please get in contact with me. I'll always answer questions, and the contact details are going to pop up in the end card and are available in the video description below. If you've liked what you've seen and you haven't subscribed, please do so so you don't miss anything new that I do. If you live in New Zealand, you're welcome to shop with me. Again, details in the end card and in the video description below. But above all else, everyone, happy stamping.